AI and the cloud keeping track of what's on the retail shelf with a little help from a little drone. I'm Tonya Hall for ZDNet and Tech Republic, and joining me is Richard Schwartz, President and CEO of Pensa Systems. Welcome, Richard.
Thank you, Tonya.
What kind of problem is Pensa trying to solve?
Yeah, so in the retail supply chain, we're all about solving the problem of how does the retailer, how does the brand manufacturer know what's on the shelf? How do they know what they have to sell? And how do they reduce the stockouts for everybody's benefit?
I understand there are three main components to the system: autonomous drones, computer vision, AI, and why is each one important?
Yeah, so you're exactly right. The nature of our solution is in several parts. One is that there's a small autonomous drone, very small, very light, doesn't do most of the work, but has a small camera and can come down autonomously by itself and essentially peer in a retail environment at the shelves. And then what's behind it is artificial intelligence, not on the drone, that uses computer vision and AI to literally recognize visually the products on the shelf and also how the shelves are being organized. And then to automatically conclude and read out what's out of stock, what's running low, what's misplaced, where are the wrong number of things on the shelf, and that sort of thing. So it's that three-legged stool coming together to solve, frankly, a major industry problem.
So do we need shelves? I mean, how about racks? Would that work?
So it turns out that what's actually on the shelf in a retail environment is like the giant black hole for the industry. If you think about warehouses and distribution centers and all of the other things leading up to what's on the retail shelf, a lot of that has been automated. But it turns out that literally knowing what's on the shelf and what's there for sale is very eyeball intensive. It's very manual. The retailers send people around to kind of look, and actually the brand manufacturers send in spotters to, again, visually look on the shelf and see that the right stuff is there, that it's in the right place, and that sort of thing. So it turns out there's an immediate business case, and it's done manually. Very expensive, actually not even that accurate. So it's a great candidate for some kind of further automation for the consumer, the shopper, but also the retailer and the brand manufacturers.
So let's talk about the drone itself and how it works. What does it look like? How does it communicate with the system?
Yeah.
With even the retailer's inventory system?
Yeah, so first of all, when you say drone, it sort of conjures up something big and maybe military or something like that. And actually, the drone that we're using autonomously is kind of the other end of the spectrum. It's very small. It's very light, about the size of my hand. It's quieter than the typical noise levels in a given store. And as it moves around by itself, it's got some kind of protection around it. So it's safe, it's perceived as safe. It isn't all that aggressive, it isn't all that fun looking. And literally acts as a roving pair of eyes, remotely returning the computer vision to AI that's in the edge and in the cloud and doing sort of all the heavy lifting, if you will.
How does the drone see around the front object, the front line of the stock count? Like, how does it know what's behind it?
Good question. First of all, one of the problems with computer vision and fixed cameras and ground-based robots and almost everything has been tried by retailers and brands. One of the problems is getting the right visual look to see and recognize products, right? And the drone kind of very naturally is seen from different angles and perspectives. It's almost as if there were maybe 100 fixed cameras focused on every spot, on every shelf, everywhere. And that is sort of as if there were 100 times at bat to begin to look at the shelf. And something may be seen better from one angle or another. And then part of the AI on the back end is knowing how to bring all that together. And what that does is give a very high accuracy. And it allows the computer vision and the deep learning AI to essentially get a very accurate view of what's on the shelf. Now, we're not trying to do cycle counting. Cycle counting is trying to say there are 39 versus 37 items. And actually, when people walk around, they're not doing that either. They're getting a sense of whether it's there or not, or how picked back it is. And this looks like it's running low. It's going to be out by the end of the weekend. And what we've done is we've trained the AI to do it the way people do it, visually. And that's kind of the breakthrough, to be able to do that with a very low cost way to do the data collection, because all of the real work is in the cloud. And that can allow the system to scale and really solve a broad industry problem, if that makes sense.
What other technical challenges did you have to overcome to make this product feasible?
Yeah, one of the problems is that a lot of the AI approaches with computer vision have been historically either very heavy, requiring every product to sort of be put on a turntable and do some kind of, fancy mapping all the way around of the products. And that's not really very practical when you think about all the products that are in the store. Or the other end of the spectrum, there have been approaches that kind of don't try to understand visually the products on the shelf, but instead are looking for a hole or a void, a gap on the shelf. And then if somebody has a very accurate view of what should be there, then the system can say, aha, that should be Heinz ketchup. The problem is when something is out of stock, usually something else has been put there, either by the store clerks or by people that put something there. So actually trying to understand visually, not only recognizing the products, but automatically inferring or concluding how the shelves are managed, that's actually what it takes to solve the problem, if that makes sense.
Where do you see the machine vision AI pairing headed in the future, 2019?
Yeah, so the name Pensa and what we're doing now is really trying to automate things that, as I said, were very eyeball intensive, very manual. And not to automate sort of very rote or menial tasks, sweeping or moving things like this, but literally trying to take on some tasks that are difficult. They're hard for people. They're very tedious to do. And there are more and more of these, first starting with the shelf inventory visibility, and then on to more and more conditions that the computer can basically start to learn and do things the way people do, but in a way that is more accurate and frankly tedious for store clerks and others, so they can spend more time instead of staring at the shelf, instead working with customers. So we see a general change in an area that's more and more critical. There's more combinations of online shopping and physical shopping in the store, which makes the problem worse and worse, more and more important. And the idea is really to take on some of those very tedious things so that the folks in the store can spend more time helping shoppers get what they want.
I love drones, right? So I love all robots. I have an open mind to this, but I imagine there are some consumers that might be hesitant to shop. And I know it's cute. You say it's cute, but there might still be some consumers that would be hesitant to shop if there's a drone circling the store. Have you run into any of that in your research, or are people more open-minded now and are more used to drones?
Yeah, so it turns out, and we've done a number of store pilots, multiple retailers, multiple countries. We've done it both after hours as well as during store hours. And the first thing is that during store hours, the idea is that the drone operates around people by being nowhere near people. And the idea is that in an area, in an aisle or an area that's empty, the drone can kind of come down and spend a few seconds taking a look. And then if anybody even remotely comes into the area, the drone will fade away and go somewhere else. So the combination of that, and the thing is very quiet, it's very light, it almost blends into the background. Believe it or not, 10 or 15 feet away, half the people don't notice it at all. They're sort of focused on what they're doing, shopping or looking for this or that, or they're very curious and very positive and sort of thinking that these things are going to happen anyway. So in fact, it actually works very well. It's not all that exciting, in fact.
What? I mean, I was just going to ask, on the fun side, do you think retailers might advertise the in-store drone to generate a little more traffic in the store?
It does turn out that folks do get very positive, very curious, very positive, and it looks like an investment by the retailer to help not run out of the stuff that matters most that they are going into the store to shop for. So it's kind of a win-win in that regard, right?
Yeah, exactly. As a consumer, I'm happy the stuff's going to be there. And as a drone enthusiast, I'm also happy about the drones being there too.
There you go.
Richard Schwartz, President and CEO of Pensa Systems. If somebody wants to connect with you, or they maybe want to find out more about your technology, how can they do that?
Yeah, so the center of gravity, of course, is the website, www.pensasystems.com. We also have a presence on Twitter and LinkedIn, and kind of any of the above will all work.
Thank you again. And if you guys want to connect with me, you can. I'm right here on ZDNet or Tech Republic, or go to my website, tonyahall.net. I've got links to all my social sites. Thanks for watching.